Hello everyone and welcome back to the Byte-Sized Brief. And before we get started, we just have a quick announcement. We have moved to a whole new channel so that way it is, more separated and more of its own thing. So there's a new channel, the Byte-Sized Brief, that is what this podcast will be going on to. And it is just all Byte-Sized Brief content. Along with that, we are all also now clipping our podcast. You might have seen some clips from our previous podcast, but we will now be clipping the major topics from each podcast. And again, you will find those on this new channel. You should be watching it on there. So, yeah. Anyways, we have quite a bit to go over today. In fact, we are covering stuff that we were going to cover last week, but we did not have enough time to cover, along with a few new tad bits of news. So first of all, let's start out with Adobe was ending Adobe Animate. Now, Adobe Animate is a 2D animation software. I've actually never heard of this until doing this for this podcast, and because the first thing that came to my mind is After Effects, because After Effects is most commonly used for motion graphics, but this is for actual drawing type of animation. And basically, they announced that they are ending support. All of the community got mad because a ton of animators use it, and then they withdrawed that statement. But I have some questions about, will they continue to update it? Will it, or, who knows? So what do you know about this, Joey?
Okay, so what I know is that Adobe Animate, or Adobe, decided that their product, Adobe Animate, which has been around for like 20 or more so years, is just not AI enough. So they're making a newer product like Adobe Animate, like an online version of it, where you can pay a subscription for Adobe Animate. It's going to be like a new product with a bunch of new features and stuff like that, which is great. But it's not going to be the old version where you buy one for $500. You have it lifetime. So kind of similar with Final Cut Pro, where you can buy it outright, but now there's a subscription version. But Adobe decided, hey, no subscription, no payout full any version, and we're not going to update the old one anymore. And a lot of people jump to the conclusion that, hey, they're getting rid of it completely. It's going to go away. Most likely that's not happening. Right now, it's probably they're just having the new version and the old version. The old version won't get any more updates whatsoever. And if you want updates, you can go for the new version. But this was a big shock for a lot of people because a lot of people's jobs and lives depended on this one software. And think about all these people who make animations for YouTube videos or just for content creation or even for class projects and stuff like that. Their whole entire degree was around this software. I mean, there's alternatives, absolutely, but they are nowhere near as good as the Adobe version. And it seems like they wanted to have more AI tools, have the new product be better, and then everyone else just kind of freaked out saying, oh no, they're getting rid of the old one, which Adobe saw the backlash and decided to make a statement saying, hey, it's not going anywhere. We're just probably not going to update it. So we'll have to see where that goes.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting to me. That news about them, from what I heard, they were just completely ending the software. I did not know about the whole new subscriptions thing. So it definitely sounds a bit confusing. From what I heard, they were just going to be ending support for it, and you wouldn't have access on the subscription end. And they were like, oh wait, people won't like that, so then they undid that. So I'm not 100% sure about that, but I don't know why they would do this, especially if a lot of people use it and it's the best one out there. I feel like that is kind of an Adobe thing to do, though, moving to subscription, doing all that. See, my thing is that, okay, so they came out, said, okay, maybe we're not going to do this. Problem is how long will that last? You can tell their intentions, and okay, for now, they're listening, but, what will this look like several years down the road? I mean, I personally don't use that, but I'm like you said, there are a lot of people that use that. And I can, imagining if I was one of those persons that used the software and it was, the best software, and then all of a sudden, oh, we're discontinuing this, or I had to switch to a subscription, I would be furious. Like, for instance, Final Cut Pro, if I ever have to switch to a subscription, I will be furious because I do not, for most things, I do not like a subscription. Now, there is certain areas where I think a subscription is good, like, for instance, music. Like, you subscribe to Apple Music or YouTube Music Premium or whatever. That makes sense because they're constantly adding new songs and you're just having this whole library of songs. Things like that make sense to me. What I don't like is softwares like Adobe Animate, like Final Cut Pro, like that, forcing you to do a subscription. And thankfully, of course, we're not talking about Final Cut Pro, but thankfully it doesn't look like they're going to be doing that. At least right now, they'll be keeping that one-time purchase and updating it, unbeknownst to people who thought they were. So, I don't know what's going to happen with this. I really hope they don't do it because it will be really bad. Although I did actually see an animation YouTuber talk about this, and apparently he's developing his own software for this, so maybe there will be eventually some better or at least good enough alternatives if Adobe ever does hit that kill switch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they were to absolutely just discontinue it, there even a lot of like movies, like TV shows, like animated TV shows. I'm trying to think of the example they gave. One famous one that I haven't watched uses Adobe Animate. Which one was it?
I don't
Uh,
know.
it
Let
was
me
a
look.
cartoon.
What?
It was a kids cartoon that still uses Adobe Animate for all of their like movie production stuff. And for them to just like remove it, the whole entire series would just continue because all the assets are in Adobe Animate, all of the software is.
Yeah, so apparently that show, Teen Titans Go, never heard of that, Smiling Friends, and My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and Bluey. Wouldn't it be so tragic if Bluey couldn't happen anymore?
Oh
You
no,
know,
that would be absolutely insane. There'd be so many upset parents if Bluey were just to go away.
yeah, all of the iPad kids would be furious. You do know that.
Yeah, I would not want to see that happening. Yeah. So good thing that they're most likely not getting rid of it, but of course it's Adobe. They can change their mind at literally any point and they can do whatever they want because it's Adobe. They are the biggest player in the field, basically. And once you're kind of monopolistic, you're gonna do whatever you want. Like, name one good photo editing software besides Adobe Lightroom. There are a couple, maybe, but Adobe Lightroom is like the one that you want because it's the best one. I personally use Adobe Lightroom. And for them to just get rid of it is not unlike them to do.
Yeah, like, just imagining, let's say, they they got rid of Photoshop or Lightroom, just thinking about that here. That would be, like, horrible. I mean, like, for instance, my mom's a photographer. She uses Adobe Lightroom and Photoshop to do her work, her job, and if they ever got rid of that, I don't know what she would do because, like you said, there's not really another software out there. I mean, there's Affinity, but honestly, it's not really that good for color grading and photo editing and other things, and there's Pixelmator Pro with the new Creator Studio thing, but that's more of a graphic design software, and even then, it's a bit more limited than other things out there, so that's another problem. It is monopolistic because there's not really any other good alternatives. There's not really any competition out there, at least when it comes to the photo editing side of Adobe and Adobe Animate and things like that. And that I just don't like the thought of Adobe could just type a few things and then boom, you don't have access to your software. Because I mean, now that everything's going to subscription, you don't really own it. And it's kind of that thought of, what if tomorrow I don't have access to that software?
Yeah. I mean, if Adobe does actually end up getting rid of it, um, I'm sure someone will find a way to get it back working and whatnot. I mean, especially with their Adobe Animate, it's like 20 years old. And if you're on an older version, there's no way for them to shut an older version down because it doesn't like check with the cloud or anything like that. Because like 20 years ago, that wasn't really a thing. So I don't think that they are going to officially shut it down. If they stop updating it and then becomes a security vulnerability, that's a different story. Like if it becomes a security vulnerability, you have to move away from it because I think it's Windows XP. If you try to set up a new Windows XP machine, if you don't have it disconnected from the internet while you're setting it up, a virus called the Blast Store will immediately be installed in your computer, even before you get to the home screen, because Windows XP had a vulnerability that they cannot fix.
Yeah, so overall, I would just hope this doesn't happen. I hope Adobe stays on their promise now of not discontinuing it and they'll continue to update it because like there's not really any other alternatives. Well, moving on, we have some more bad things happening with some Ryzen CPUs. And apparently there has been reports of the CPUs failing because something with I think the die connecting is like exploding or like catching on fire. From what I heard, what do you know about that? I'm not 100% sure on this one.
Okay, so these are not just their regular CPUs, it's their Ryzen 9000 series CPU, which are pretty popular though. So it's kind of a big deal because Ryzen right now is the chip to get if you're a gamer. If you're a gamer, you're going to get a Ryzen chip in your desktop computer. And there have been reports of them exploding. Well, not exploding as in like fireworks or whatnot, but like shorting out and smoking and being completely useless because they burnt themselves alive, which is weird. That shouldn't be happening at all. And it's happening mostly only on ASRock motherboards, but it also is happening on other motherboards too. So we're not sure exactly what it is. ASRock is the most common one, and they pushed out a fix for this with a BIOS update for all the motherboards. The problem is resurfacing again, so that didn't fix it. And then they put out another BIOS update 3 months ago that now you can see that it hasn't fixed it either. What it looks like is that there's too much power going into like 3 pins in one side. And when too much power comes to those 3 pins, it'll burn your CPU alive and burn your motherboard too. But we're not sure if that's the problem because in every single one that burns, it's in a different spot. So we don't know if the power is not being distributed properly between the pins or if the CPU is just taking too much power for the motherboard to handle. We're not exactly sure what's going on because CPUs are way beyond anyone's comprehension for the most part. Unless you're a like science engineer, you have no idea how that CPU works.
Yeah, so this is very interesting. Like I don't know if I've really heard of a case of CPUs shorting themselves and burning themselves alive, but this is definitely not good, especially if let's say you're using that PC for work, and even though it's probably going to be for gaming. I mean, you can't just have your CPU shorting out, which renders the whole entire computer useless. And that was what I was thinking about power. Like, I don't know, like surges maybe? And like you were saying about how it's in different places, I don't know, maybe like the pin design, like the pin connector design is faulty or defective or maybe like a bad design. I don't know.
But but the problem is if it would be happening to their other CPUs too then. It would be happening to their like what's it 8000 series that they have right now? It would be happening to those CPUs too. It's only the 9000 series. Maybe it's because those ones draw more power than the other ones, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it kind of makes sense though. If it's using the same die connecting structure as a less powerful chip, then maybe it just can't handle this newer, or not newer, but more power hungry, power intensive, more intensive chip. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they need to make a specific type just for this series, especially since from what I know, one of their more higher end series. So I really I don't. It sounds like this cannot be fixed with a software update. So that is going to be really bad. Like it's going to cost a lot of money because you're gonna have to redo the chips, redo stuff on the motherboard, and other things like that. So, and
Yeah, especially if it is a if it's a power issue, there's no way for them to softwarely fix it. You could you could send less power to the CPU via software, but that's a problem. Your CPU is going to be much slower if you're sending less power to it. So they can't just fix it software. I mean, maybe it's too much power going to certain pins and it can spread the load out more evenly with the software update, but it's looking like it's a hardware problem.
yeah, and especially since they've already put out at least 2 updates, then it's definitely sounding like it's a hardware problem. So, very interesting. Like I said, I've never heard of a case like this happening. I think probably the most relevant thing I've heard like this is the red ring of death on the 360 had to do with the pins overheating and like moving and shifting and things like that. So this is definitely not good. It's sounding more like to me, at least, that it probably just has to do with that architecture of the pins cannot handle the power that that type of chip handles. Because if it's working fine on the 8000 series, then it's probably that. And I don't think they can fix it with software from what we know so far. So, yeah.
Absolutely. But what's not a hardware problem is Notepads plus backdoor. So, the most popular third-party note-taking app, or like Notes. On Windows there's Notes, on Apple I think it's also called Notes or whatnot, or Pages or something like that. With Note++, that is any like insignificant Windows user, they use Note++, and every single Linux user, they used Note++, and found out for months there was a backdoor called Chrysalis inside the software of the legitimate software. So if you downloaded the software straight from the owners of Note++, it had malware in it practically. A backdoor where people can access your computer, access the files, and all of that. And the funny thing is that they knew about it because they had a cyber attack, was it about 6 months prior, 3 months prior, around there, and people breached their servers. And they're like, oh, we got to fix this, whatnot. So they got all the people out, they appended their servers, whatnot, but apparently they didn't actually look at the download file itself, and it was replaced with this malicious version. Yep, so great luck with Linux users where, like, Linux doesn't get viruses or Mac doesn't get viruses. Yeah, they do. They do in legitimate software.
Yeah. So I I thought Notepad++ was more like a code thing, not just a notes app. But anyway,
I do believe it is just like notes for anything. I'll double check that though.
yeah. Anyway, that is not. I mean, that's not good. Uh, And it definitely sounds like this was more of a problem for Linux. I don't even
Oh no,
think.
you're right. It is coding platform. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I could have sworn that was something. So I'm pretty sure it's only on Windows and Linux, right?
Yes, it's not for Mac.
Yeah. So that's definitely not good if people can access your code or um do things with your code or tamper with your code that you're doing. And honestly, I thought this was only on Linux. So kind of my thought was that one of the reasons why I'm not too fond of Linux is because I mean, Linux is so standalone. There's no big entity over it, and it's kind of like does it even get security patches if there's not like an entity over it? So overall, I just don't know if that would be something I would be into. Of course, if it's also on Windows, which does make sense because I believe I've actually seen it on a Windows PC before. So that's definitely not good. And from what I've heard, this is like a very popular software for people to use on those platforms. And it's honestly very interesting that the hackers like put in different download things within that. And it just shows that there's always some sort of backdoor, whether you think there is or not. So
Yeah, I mean, even Notepad++ was a trusted piece of software. It was a software that so many people used, so many people trusted for a long time. It's been around for a long time. Everyone trusts it and whatnot. And just to think that you may be downloading Spotify for your computer and it could be malicious. You could be downloading Final Cut Pro and it could be malicious. That probably wouldn't happen, but hypothetically, in this hypothetical situation, just to think that you're downloading a legitimate software but having a back door inside of the code.
Yeah, and I know people say that Macs don't get viruses. I mean, in my personal experience, I've never got a virus on my Mac now. In the, 2 years that I had a Windows PC, I had multiple viruses on it, and I had to, factory reset it and do a bunch of things to it every time. So that was kind of annoying. So I would not say Mac cannot get viruses because frankly, I think anything could possibly get viruses, but I do think that at least it's maybe slightly better. Like,
Yeah, because for Mac, you get all your downloads from like the App Store or whatnot, instead of just random files online. With Windows, you're going to the company's website, you're getting the download from there. With Mac, you go to the App Store or whatnot, you get their legitimate pieces of software. So it's a higher risk on Windows, but for Mac, it's not more secure. It is, relatively speaking, it is more secure, but there's nothing stopping from a real piece of software for acting maliciously.
yeah, although also it's just like Windows, you can download basically whatever you want off the apps off website. I do it all
Yeah,
the
but it's
time.
less common, right? It's less common.
I would honestly say it's about the same as Windows, honestly. So, the only annoying thing is that if Apple cannot determine if it has malware, you have to go into settings, go to security, and then there'll be, a little thing, and you'll have to be, open anyway to actually open it. On Windows, usually there is a open anyway button when you try to open something like that. So Apple's definitely a bit more iffy when it comes to that, but I'd say it's about the same. If it's an Apple app, it will definitely be in the App Store, but there is a lot of apps I've downloaded. Like OBS, I downloaded that from the App Store. I think I downloaded Elgato Capture from the App Store. Oh, I mean from the web. Did I say I downloaded OBS from the App Store? If I did, I meant from the
Yes.
web. I did not mean that. So, in overall, I'd say it's about the same. Also, I'm not 100% sure those were viruses on my Windows. It could have just been Windows acting up. Because, but whatever it was, I literally had to erase Windows off the computer and reinstall it to fix it. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just another reason why I dislike Windows. But I mean, this happened to Linux too, so there was really no alternative there. I mean, there's Mac, but some people have strong feelings about Mac, and no matter how much you say Mac is pretty decent now, I mean, now,
Yeah.
everyone would say Mac is trash because the stoplights are awful or whatnot. But what's not awful is Mac's new customization page for their computers, which is actually really cool. It's just a normal customization page. Is you open the computer and it says, hey, what do you use this computer for? You select what you want it for. It's like, hey, there's the options here. You got RAM. Okay, great. You got this much RAM. Here are the storage options. Okay, great. Okay, here are the screen options now. Okay, great. And it's just well built. I mean, I guess it's finally about time for them to revamp their previous one, because it was like you select something, then other ones are grayed out because you selected the other version, and then you go back, select a different version, then the other ones are grayed out because you can't have that little RAM with that much storage. You can't have that much storage with that little RAM or whatnot.
Yeah, so I did not really know about this until I looked. It's it's not like a huge change. It definitely carries over some similarities, but then it does make it a lot better. It's a lot more streamlined and a lot more focused. So that way, if you are ordering a Mac, you feel like you're getting exactly what you needed or what you wanted when it comes to specs. So what color do you want? Do you want the nano texture display? What amount of RAM do you want? What storage? What power adapter? What keyboard? And things like that. And while it's not too much different, I just think it makes the overall experience a lot better. And and a lot more clear. I guess you could say, like, it's a lot easier, at least in my opinion, to, I guess, understand it. I mean, I've never had a problem, but it's definitely less clutter, more streamlined, and things like that. It's not like a huge difference. I won't say it's like this amazing new thing, but it's definitely an improvement in my opinion.
Yeah, I just went through the configurator right now. My computer ended up being, let's see, the first one I selected was $2,800. This one's $1,750. Anyway, I should probably stop shopping for computers because I don't need to spend that much money on a computer.
Yeah, and I do believe there's an option where, like, you can tell it what you use it for, and it would automatically recommend something. Because I've seen that before. Let's see here. Yeah, answer a few questions. So let's say I'll be using mine for work and creative hobbies. Next, what sort of work do you do? Um, and and you just answer a few questions, and it will recommend, like, what machine. I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily too accurate, but it definitely, you know, it's okay. I wouldn't really use it though. I would rather do it myself. But I guess if you're not too familiar with it, then, you know, okay.
You know what I just realized, which is hilarious about their help me choose a Mac page, is what are your day-to-day essentials, and gaming's an option. I'm sorry, it's Mac. Yes, there's like 5 games you can choose from. Why is that even an option? Okay, anyway.
Yeah,
So,
apparently my top choice is the M4 MacBook Air with 24 gigs of RAM, which is
oh, that sounds
fitting
actually pretty
because
decent.
my current MacBook is the M3 that only has 16 gigs of RAM, but yeah, oh, and 512 gigs of storage. Which is, I'm so glad they started doing 16 gigs minimum. Like, 8 gigs was getting a bit outdated, you could say. That was one of the things Apple was definitely nitpicked for, so.
Yeah. Let's see which computer recommends me. Um, I don't think it's gonna give me a laptop for now. I think yeah, it didn't give me a laptop. It gave me a
What is,
Mac Mini.
yeah,
Oh, there you go. The laptop it gave me was MacBook Air 15, 16 gigs of RAM, 250. That's not enough storage. 256, that's not enough.
I have
I've
that.
run out.
I have
No,
256 gigs of storage.
I've run out so many times on my computer, and mine has 512. There's not enough storage.
Yeah, I run out a lot. That's why I edit everything off an external drive.
Yep. Well, some more bad news is that Amazon is blocking side-loaded apps on Fire TV. Which, if you have a Amazon Fire Stick, you can download apps from not the Amazon App Store. So, like third-party players, third-party YouTube clients, illegal apps. We don't talk about those. I have like multiple on my phone right now. We don't talk about those. Uh, um, well, banned apps. They're not illegal. They're banned because Google doesn't want you to be able to download YouTube videos and stuff like that. Like side-loading apps, they're blocking it. Now, through the default loader, you have to install a third-party app installer to install them, and they have more plans in the future to block that way to download those apps too. Because the Amazon Fire TV Stick was the way to watch pirated movies because it was just the best at it. You just install an app, and there you go. You got your pirated movies there. Now, Amazon's blocking that.
Yeah, so overall, I don't like this. Now, I know you really should pirate things, but the main thing is that I could see them implementing this on their tablets. Now, Fire tablets, you shouldn't buy one. Let me just say that right off the bat. They are horrible. I used to have them. They are slow. They're just horrible. Anyway, but the thing is that they have their own proprietary app store that literally has no apps on it. Like, nothing. And I sideloaded Google Play on it so that way I could actually download things. Problem is, I could see them implementing this on that, and if they do that, then it's just gonna make their tablets even more useless. And there's also probably apps that aren't necessarily for pirating on Fire TV that you can't get now. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that we can't pirate because, I mean, pirating is bad, I mean, I know we like doing it, but it is kinda bad. But there are genuine things, and it's just gonna make the product worse since you can barely do anything on it and get anything, so, yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what also is bad and awful? I mean, that's pretty much sums up that topic, but what's bad and awful is Motorola. I mean, everyone knows Motorola. Motorola has like the cheapest phones in existence. And if you have a Motorola, no judgment, but get a new phone. It is not good. Even if you got their more expensive phones, they're just not great. I mean, they're getting better than they were before, but they're still not good. They're cheap. But anyway, ignoring all of that, they released a new phone called the G17 and G17 Power. What does power mean? Means a little less slow than the last one. Ignoring that, they have so the EU requires, I think it's 3 to 5 years of software updates. The EU requires that for the phone to be sold in the EU market. But there's a slight caveat. It's if you make promises for future software updates. You know what Motorola said to that?
No.
We're not going to promise future software updates. In fact, this is going to get no software updates. I mean, it'll get security updates for, I think it said 3 years, but there'll be no OS, no Android upgrades at all. I'm
Horrible.
That's the thing, but Motorola people don't know that because Motorola people are the people who use their phone for texting and calling. That's it. They don't know when they get a new feature. They don't know when their software is outdated. They don't know why their phone is running like a turtle. So I guess they can get away with it, but let me tell you, if anyone looks at that and says, yeah, I still want a Motorola phone, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, let me tell I have to admit, this is one of the reasons why I don't particularly like Android phones. And I guess this is really mostly on a problem about the just random ones. If you have a Pixel, you always get everything first. Even if you have a Samsung, you're not gonna get everything quickly. Only the Pixels get that because it's Google's phone. But that is ridiculous. 0 updates. I mean, I just don't. I think it's ridiculous that they're marketing this flagship phone with 0 software updates. For me, that is kind of a deal breaker. Like, why?
No, it's not a kind of a deal breaker. For me, that's absolute deal breaker.
Yeah.
If they release the next Samsung phone and it's amazing in every single way, but they give 0 software updates, I am not buying that phone. I'll buy last year's phone because I don't want to use my phone for 2 years and it already be outdated and I can't run any apps on it because all the features are outdated.
Yeah, and especially because I don't even know if this is shipping with the latest version of Android.
No, it isn't. It's shipping from last year's version of Android, not even this year's.
That and the thing is like, what apps will eventually start becoming like outdated and unsupported and things like that. And it's not gonna last long. Like, I just don't see honestly who in the right mind would buy this. Beyond the fact that I just don't like Motorola. I mean, I've helped family members set up Motorola before it was running like Android 12 and it had no updates at all and it was brand new. And I think that's outrageous. Like, is there even going to be security updates?
Yes, I think they said there's going to be 3 to 5 years of security updates because that is required by Google for Google certification. You're required to do security updates.
Yeah, but it's still outrageous to me that I think that is not acceptable for a
Okay,
phone.
and let's compare it to Apple. They just updated the iPhone 5S to still work with FaceTime and still work with iMessage because the certificates were going to expire, so they updated it. I mean, there's no new features. It's not running iOS 26, but there
Oh yeah,
are features. Well, no, not features. There are. It didn't improve much anything. They didn't add anything new, but they made it where it still works with their software. Still works with their software. You can still FaceTime people. You can still iMessage people, even if you have a phone from. Let's see. We're on the
the iPhone 5S is like over 10 years old. I
like
believe it's
12 years old. I would be 6. I would be 6 if I had that phone still.
I know, and that that was honestly so impressive to me, though. That yeah, it's not. It capped out at iOS 12, which came out in 2018. But again, they're still making this to work that you can text people. Now it's not going to have the new standards, but if you're an older person and the phone still works and all you're going to use it for is texting and calling, then I mean that's really amazing. And like I said, I think it is unacceptable for a phone not to get any updates, especially now. Like maybe if this was like 10 years ago, even then I still think that'd be very outrageous. But it's just unacceptable in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, got some better news now after all that bad news. Better news. You know how this company stole a bunch of data from Spotify, like basically every single song on Spotify, and made it available to download for everyone to have. A bunch of companies have teamed up and is suing Anna's Archive, the people who stole the data, for $13 trillion. Okay, so Spotify, Universal Music Group, yeah, that Universal that makes movies, their soundtracks are on Spotify. Warner Bros. Music, which also the movie company, which their songs are on Spotify. Sony, yeah, that's Sony, PS5 Sony, their songs are also on Spotify. They're like, whoa, hold up. That's our music, that's our copyright music. We spent money paying these artists for these songs. You cannot just take them from us. And they're suing them for $13 trillion in damages.
I don't know if they're going to be able to pay this. I mean, $13 trillion? That is like
That's more than
over
Apple.
that's like 3 times the worth of Apple. That, I don't know how they're going to pay it, but they deserve it. I mean, I was outrageous. Them not, not obeying the judge. So yeah, but I don't know how they're going to pay $13 trillion. I mean, like I said, that's at least 3 times more than the worth of Apple. Apple's worth, they just hit $4 trillion, and I mean, that's crazy. But
Yeah,
again,
it's more
deserve
money than some small countries. It's more money than countries combined. There's absolutely no way they'll be ever able to pay it. And I don't know how law works. I don't know how they're supposed to be able to pay this. But I don't know if the bill goes on the people in charge of the company, but there's literally their whole entire family will never be able to pay that off.
Yeah, so, but I mean, they deserved it, but that's a lot of money. And moving on to a more interesting thing, there is this Google Project Genie, I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And it's basically you describe like a world, and like you can like look through it, and AI will like generate it. I don't know. It's a bit weird, but okay, like interesting, I guess.
Yeah, it is similar to that. I'm sure the viral clip of like AI generated Minecraft, where you could like in this AI world play Minecraft. It's similar to that, but it's for any open world game you want. It just takes all of its available data from it's stolen everywhere everywhere in the internet, and it's taken all that data and made it kind of cohesive, somewhat somehow. I don't think it would be very good at all, but who knows? It may be
Yeah, have you
decent.
tried it?
Actually, I just opened it right now, and I'm going to try it now.
Although it looks like you have to have like a Google AI Ultra account to try it.
I think I might have one.
You must be 18 or
Oh,
older.
no. Never mind. I do not.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Honestly, just okay, because like it's an experimental feature and it is so impractical. Like, why would you need to use this? But okay.
Yeah. And it's funny because the day they announced it, a bunch of like gaming company stocks dropped like 10% because all the investors in the company was like, oh, this is going to replace all video games forever. And I'm like, that's not how that works. If AI is making a video game, there will never be a storyline in it. There will never be a cohesive like assignment to do. You're going to be looking at what like a building, and then slowly it will start evaporating into a fountain. That's how AI works. AI doesn't understand previous context. It can look at what it's looking at and make a new frame based on it, and keep doing that, and then it just keeps slowly changing what it is because it doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know that that's a person. It made like, oh, it has the same feature shapes as a person, and then it's like, oh, the face shape is this, and then face shape is this, and then this, and then this, and this. Oh, and then oh no, it's not human anymore. The face is 200 feet wide.
Yeah, and also, I mean, hey, it might end the gaming industry because it's going to be eating up all the RAM that gamers will need, though. You do know that, right? I mean, yeah. So, because think about it,
Yeah.
it's generating this whole entire open world. You know how much RAM it's probably eating. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That. Yep. And think about that. All of our RAM is like 10 times more expensive just because I want to look at a banana on a wall that slowly changes into a truck.
yep. But moving on to some better news or good news, the new laptop OS Google is working on that there's been some rumors going around for years, apparently has been leaked. And honestly, I think if it's not another Chrome OS clone and it can actually do things without having to be connected to a web browser, I think it would be a genuinely pretty big competitor.
Yeah, no, this is absolutely amazing. Like, legitimately. This is not Linux. Well, it's sort of Linux. Get on that later. It's not Mac. It's not Windows. Mac is very limited in what you can do sometimes. I mean, you have a lot of freedom, but a lot of people don't like how Mac works because they like how Windows works, even if Windows hardly ever work. Then they don't like having to learn Linux. Chrome OS was way too limited what you could do. Like, it was like web browser and some Android apps that hardly worked. But now, they're like, you know what? We're not going to have Android and Chrome OS. We're going to have Android that works like a computer. So every single Android app you have, you can install on your computer. And you can have a real web browser. And you can install third-party apps. You can download apps from the internet. You can have Linux apps, most likely. There's rumors that's going to have a Linux-like terminal. So you can install real world applications. And this is going to be absolutely fantastic because Google, they're going to polish it to make it really usable. I know they're going to just keep polishing it until it is as good as Windows. It may not have as much software support as Windows because it's going to be brand new. But it's going to be something that is, I think this is going to be legitimate. Like, people that are using Windows and we're like, you know what? Why don't I don't like Mac because you have to buy a whole entire new computer for that. I don't like Linux because I can't figure out how to use it. Chrome OS you can't use very well because there's nothing to do. This is a perfect middle ground for the people who are trying to get away from Windows. Like me, I want to get away from Windows. This is the perfect way to do that. Well, once it comes out in like, who knows long, but it's coming.
Yeah, so I think this is actually really amazing if they can make it really good. I think this will definitely be like one of the best Windows alternatives for people who don't like Windows, which is basically everyone, because Windows is horrible. And because I'm sure it will be easier to use than Windows, and I will say I do see it being more like macOS in the sense that it is slightly more limited than Windows, but I do think if they do it right, it won't be really much of a problem because it's not really much of a problem on Mac. It's just, people may not like some of the choices with macOS or, having to buy a whole new computer. But overall, I think this and macOS will probably be the two best alternatives now from Windows. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of Windows users will switch to this, especially since they can put it on their current computer. And this also would probably mean if you have an Android phone, you're going to have much better connectivity or continuity between your phone and your laptop because Windows has tried to do that, but from what I know, it does not work the best.
It
So,
works sometimes. It doesn't work other times, and it works sometimes. Samsung's implementation works the best, but it's still kind of finicky because Windows is finicky.
yeah, so overall, I think this is going to be really amazing. I'm very interested to see what it will look like, see what it can do, and honestly, I'm fine with like Windows disappearing and we'll just have this new Android software and Linux and macOS. I honestly could see a day where maybe something like that would take over Windows, like replace it in some way, if Microsoft doesn't get their act together.
And hopefully they do get their act together. Oh, Amazon, they're back in the news again. We're going to talk about them twice today. But right now, we're going to talk about the accidentally leaked email to their employees. Yeah, they were setting up an email, like basically saying that, hey, we're going to lay off 16,000 people. Yeah, as part of the Project Dawn. And they're like, oh, oops, we didn't mean to send that email to everyone saying that 16,000 people are going to be fired. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, seriously, Amazon, like, why are you laying off 16,000 people? You already make a lot of money, like, and the fact that they're calling it Project Dawn has me thinking there has some weird, probably horrific thing coming.
AI.
Well, yeah, they're gonna have, Elon Musk is gonna produce those robots, so that way all the Elon Musk robots can run everything. This is just stupid. Amazon has a monopoly, I feel like, when it comes to online shopping and things like that. But it's just, I feel like Amazon it's just a mess. Like, I'm gonna be honest, they're kind of a mess. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I feel like they're a mess. And
I feel like they're trying to do everything and anything, and they're just doing too much.
yeah, so I don't know why they're laying off these people, because
And the fact that they accidentally leaked it. It's not like they laid off 16,000. They accidentally told people they're laying off 16,000 people, which is, it's not completely confirmed that they're actually going to go through with that now that it accidentally leaked, but that's absolutely, like, you need people, and you cannot replace people with AI. I mean, I know the companies want to believe that because they will make millions more dollars an hour if they start replacing all the people with AI. But that's not how it works. AIs cannot box things, tape them, put the shipping label on, bring them out, drive them, put them on your doorstep, and then take care of returns. Someday it might be able to, but not now.
Yeah, and the problem is that if we start having all this, it's just gonna mean more RAM eating, more resource-hungry things. And I feel like our current society is really going hard on this AI taking over everything, and I just don't think it's gonna work out. I know it's not gonna work out, like, I just no, I just don't like it. And, I mean, that's a lot of people's jobs that you're just laying off, for no apparent reason at this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of their Project Dawn. Who knows what they have planned? From the sounds of it, it sounds like AI because AI, the dawn of new awakening or whatnot. And they keep saying AI this, AI that. It's the new dawn of whatnot. So it's absolutely something to do with AI, but we have no idea what exactly it is yet. But the fact that they're laying off 16,000 people is really devastating for everyone with their jobs. I mean, even secure positions at that company, they're just going to go away. And some people lost their jobs at Canada Computers. Yeah, so the website Canada Computers, which was a pretty big online realtor in Canada for computers. Like, if you want to buy a computer, you could go to Canada Computers and stuff like HP or Dell or Amazon for your computer, and they would ship it to you pretty quickly. But it found out that the company accidentally somehow had a credit card skimmer built right into the website's code. So if you go to the website and you put your credit card in, that credit card data was put in a database and sent off into somewhere in the internet. We're not exactly sure where in the internet it went, And that's a big problem. I mean, I just gave my credit card. Let's say this is Amazon, for example. I gave my credit card to Amazon. Amazon just gave it to someone, and we don't know who they gave it to. They just gave my credit card info out. How did that happen? How did that happen? And what do I do about it?
I know that honestly that scares me because sometimes I have to put something in like a sketchy website. For instance, the other day I got an email from this random hotel I've never heard of, and I'm like, and I did all these steps. I changed my password, but it's just kind of creepy in the back of the head. Like, how did they get hold of that? Where did something go wrong when I entered something? And they like had my name, but my last name was like some Chinese last name. It was weird. Anyway, this is not good. I mean, this is horrible. So I'm glad I don't live in Canada, for sure. And moving on to some also bad news, the Pixel 10a. Why is it bad news? Because it's a Pixel 9a and they just changed the number to 10. And they also made the camera bump flush. That's all they did. Same Tensor G4 chip, which is already extremely behind. Same display, same battery, same cameras, same everything. And it sounds like it may be $50 cheaper, but other than that, nothing new.
Okay. Yeah, nothing new about that phone at all. It's the Pixel 9a with a slightly thicker skin. But the thing is, I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, oh, they probably just added Pixel Snap to it. Maybe that's what they updated. No, I just looked up there. It's not rumored to have Pixel Snap, aka MagSafe. But you're just releasing the same phone again. But you spent time redesigning it slightly enough where the cases won't work, and you have to have a new body for the phone, a new skin for the phone, and you didn't change anything. Just don't release a new phone. Either update it or don't release a new phone. Stop giving us the same phone in the exact same practically the exact same body.
Yeah, and I honestly was like kind of hard to grasp my brain around it because there is literally nothing new besides that new design from what we know. Why? Like why would you even spend the time to make a barely different design to just put in like it is almost I just don't know why. And I feel like Google's been doing this a lot lately. Like I have the Pixel 9 to 10. There was a few upgrades, like the base model, it got an extra camera, but the 10 Pro, like the main new feature was like a software feature. It got a new chip, which is still very behind. So
Yeah.
I don't
I mean,
get
the
this.
chip was actually a big improvement from the G4. It wasn't compared to Snapdragon or Exynos or even Apple's A1 or whatever their number they're on now. It's still not comparable at all. I mean, Pixel needs to really step it up because they have good polished phone. Like it's super polished. Like the apps work really well. The device feels really good. The features they work really well. But the hardware is really lacking. I mean, the screens are fine. The cameras are pretty great. The video's not that great. The battery life is eh. The power is not very good actually at this point. It's really behind. The charging speed is not very good either. And they're just really falling behind because they're not updating. And they've been stuck with like a mid-range phone the whole time. I mean, the phone that they're selling right now is kind of comparable to the Samsung A56. It's really comparable to that phone. And that phone is $500, not $1,000. So the Pixel 10 Pro, the Samsung A56, I mean, the cameras are worse than the A56, yes, but the rest of the phone is pretty much the same.
Yeah, so overall, I have to say a lot of the major companies, Apple, Samsung, Google, have been doing this lately. But I must say, Google so far has been the worst about
Oh yeah,
not changing
because
anything.
they're the farthest behind. With Apple and Samsung, they're at least ahead of everyone else. And then just with Apple and Samsung, they're ahead. But then Google, they're behind and they're still not changing anything. Not like they've caught up and they're not changing anything. They're still behind. They need to catch up.
Yeah, so that's not good, but what in my opinion is just horrible. and really just gives me like no hope for the future is HP's new laptop subscription. So basically, this is not, at least right now, it's not forced. So let's say maybe you temporarily want to use a laptop or something like that. Well, you can basically rent a laptop, and after the end of a year, you have to return it to either upgrade to a new laptop or just not use it anymore. And I was thinking about this, like, is this bad? Is this good? Because, I was thinking about it. I could actually see a case where someone just temporarily needs a laptop and maybe they don't want to buy it. It's just my problem is that I can see 10 years down the road that this would not that this would become like the norm. Like, you don't buy a laptop anymore, you just subscribe to it because we're already seeing all of this stuff going to subscription base. And it honestly it's very unsustainable, especially in this economy right now. So it's like it's good, but it's also bad. It's kind of that in between, especially because we don't know where this could be in 10 years down the road.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the biggest problem with this is that the term "you'll own nothing and be happy." It's that you don't own this computer. You're just renting it. And with my computer, I will throw it on the ground accidentally, and I'll be like, "Oh, oops, it's my computer, whatnot." If I'm renting it and it gets damaged, they can refuse like the return of the product and whatnot. And the price of the subscription is actually pretty good. If you go for the lowest model, let's say you don't need a powerful computer, you go for the lowest model, it's actually pretty economical. If you don't need a computer for too much, you need a computer to file taxes this year. You can just rent a computer for $35 and return it. You don't have to outbuy a $600 computer or even more. So that makes sense in that aspect. But at the same time, you're paying $35 a month. If you have this for an extended period of time, you're better out buying a computer because what's 35 times 10? It's like $340. So in about a year, about 10 months, whatnot, you're already paying, or you already bought a $350 laptop. And in 2 years, you already bought like a $700 laptop. And in 3 years, you've bought 1,250 or whatnot, or however the math adds up. And it would have been better just to buy a laptop that you personally own and you don't have to be liable if it gets damaged. I mean, yeah, if I get a dent on my computer, okay, whatever. But if I get a dent on HP's laptop, they can be like, "Oh no, you have to pay for that at any time."
Yeah. Like I said, it's one of those things that I can see a use case for it. It's just the fear of what could come out of this. What if one day the only way you can get it is if you subscribe to it permanently? And that is just unacceptable. Like, I genuinely hope that never happens because I couldn't afford to make payments permanently on my MacBook. I couldn't afford that. Like, eh, and what's also really bad is Ring's new search party, which is definitely only going to be used to find lost dogs. And
Oh yeah, absolutely. Only dogs. Yeah.
yeah, and so basically, it uses all the cameras in your city to just find your lost dogs. And by the way, it automatically turns on. Like, you won't even know it. It'll just be on. So, yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, totally. This is a brand new feature where every single like camera in your city, it automatically detects using AI what the item in the frame is. Only detects, oh, it's a dog. It can identify objects and what objects are, what things are, and it's like, oh, that is a dog. Oh, what details about the dog? I said, oh, it's a Labrador Retriever. Oh, it's a white dog. It's a black dog. Whatnot. And it's absolutely just going to be able to only identify dogs and literally nothing else. So you won't be able to identify packages or cars or license plates or people's faces or hair or hairstyles. Yeah, it's only going to identify dogs. That's it. And guess what? You can access anyone's camera just if it finds your dog in it. Yeah, let your dog loose in someone's yard and then, oh, you can find your dog there. Yeah, no. This is awful because guess what? If an AI is analyzing that photo, it's analyzing everything in it. It's not just identifying one thing in the frame. It's identifying everything. It has to know what everything is. It has to know what's a human. It has to know what's a car. It has to know what's a animal. It has to know what's a package. Like, think about the time that the kid got arrested for having a Doritos bag and thought it was a gun. It's going to be the same thing. It has to know what everything is, so that doesn't happen. Thing is, that means it's identifying everything. It's identifying the people that walk by. It's identifying everything. And this is just mass surveillance for like everyone's home. And it's on by default. You have to manually go opt out of it. And most everyone is not going to because they don't even know about it.
Yeah, this is horrible and honestly genuine. Like, I definitely, like, I've heard for a while Ring is not the best when it comes to keeping your privacy. And I was like, well, I'm not sure. Okay, after this, no. I'm not buying. If we ever have to get a security camera, it's not going to be Ring. No.
Also, the best part of this, they teamed up with Flock to make this feature. Do you know what Flock is, Danny?
From what I know, it is a government surveillance agency, from what I know.
No, it's a private company that gives cameras to government agencies. But the problem is these cameras are running Android 8. Mind you, we're on Android, I think it's 17 now. They're on Android 8, so they are like 9 years old. And nothing is encrypted in them. It sends traffic data like license plate numbers, like cars, to an unencrypted server, and then any police officer in the state or in the country can access it. There's major security vulnerabilities everywhere. They've been called out so many times for having so many security vulnerabilities and whatnot. I mean, it's not a bad product in and of itself. It's just they implemented it very badly because it's very unsecure and whatnot. And they're teamed up with a Ring to do this. Flock is already not a trustworthy company because how many security flaws they have. And now Ring is in it, and they're teaming up together to make this product. That means, and Flock is a government, it works for the government. They're not a government agency, but they work for it. That means the government can probably access Ring's cameras using that AI feature too, to identify people, to identify stolen cars.
So yeah, this is and obviously the main concern here is that they're going to be using this for other things. And also, beyond the fact that if they get hacked, they can access your things. And this has obviously revealed that Ring can access your camera whenever you want, and they've probably been able to do that for who knows how long.
Yeah,
And
Ring got in trouble for like some people working at Ring just tapping into people's cameras a while back.
yeah,
Okay, well, I mean, it's just mass surveillance at this point, and out of all the people, of course, it is Amazon that's doing that. I mean, they're already replacing all their people with AI anyway.
yeah. So, anyways, everyone, that is all of our topics today. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you maybe next week or bi-weekly. I know the schedule's kind of been mixed up. So anyways, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all in the next one.